Mistake. Number 1. Seeking approval from others. One of the most common traps that destroys confidence is seeking approval from others. It might feel natural to crave validation. It's human to want to be liked and accepted. However, when you base your self-worth on how others perceive you, you hand over control of your confidence to people who might not even have your best interests at heart. Think about this. If your sense of value is tied to external praise, what happens when that praise disappears? You begin to doubt yourself, question your worth, and spiral into insecurity. The Stoics were well aware of this danger. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, reminded himself daily, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." The Stoic solution to this problem is profound yet simple. Turn inward for validation. Instead of worrying about what others think of you, focus on living a virtuous life. Are you honest, hardworking, and kind? Are you striving to do the right thing, even when no one is watching? These are the markers of true self-worth. When you measure your value by your own integrity and actions, you build unshakable confidence that no one can take away. Ask yourself, are you living to impress others or to stay true to yourself? Once you stop chasing external validation, you'll discover a new sense of freedom and self-assurance. After all, as Epictetus said, "Whoever is free from the desire for approval cannot be made a slave." Mistake. Number 2. Fearing failure. Fear of failure is one of the biggest barriers to confidence. It's a paralyzing emotion that can stop you from taking action, trying new things, or pursuing your goals. The thought of failing often brings feelings of embarrassment, shame, or disappointment, making it easier to avoid risks altogether. But here's the problem. Avoiding failure is also avoiding growth. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca, one of the most renowned Stoic thinkers, believed that failure was not something to be feared, but embraced. He said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." In other words, failure is a necessary part of learning and building resilience. Every failure teaches a lesson, sharpens your skills, and strengthens your character. Consider this. What's the worst that can happen if you fail? The truth is, most of our fears are exaggerated in our minds. The Stoics encouraged people to face these fears head-on by practicing premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This involves imagining the worst-case scenario and preparing yourself mentally for it. When you realize that even the worst outcomes are rarely as catastrophic as you imagine, fear loses its grip on you. To overcome the fear of failure, you need to reframe your mindset. Instead of seeing failure as the opposite of success, see it as a stepping stone toward it. As Marcus Aurelius put it, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The next time you face a challenge or an opportunity, don't let the fear of failure hold you back. Take action, knowing that failure is simply a part of the journey, and every step, even the missteps, brings you closer to becoming your best self. Mistake number 3, overthinking. Overthinking is a silent enemy of confidence, creeping in when you least expect it. You may start by analyzing a situation to make the best decision, but soon your mind spirals into doubt. What if I make the wrong choice? What if people judge me? What if this doesn't work out? This endless cycle of what-ifs can leave you feeling stuck, anxious, and unsure of yourself. Instead of taking action, you remain paralyzed, consumed by your own thoughts. The Stoics recognized the dangers of overthinking and offered a clear remedy: Focus only on what you can control. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher and teacher, famously said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." Overthinking often happens because we attach unnecessary meaning or worry to events that are neutral by nature. We spend precious energy fretting about things beyond our influence, like the opinions of others or the unpredictable outcomes of our efforts. The key to overcoming overthinking lies in applying the dichotomy of control, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. This principle teaches us to divide everything in life into two categories. 1. Things we can control, our thoughts, choices, actions, and attitudes. 2. Things we cannot control, other people's reactions, external circumstances, and outcomes. When you focus exclusively on what you can control, your mind becomes calmer and more focused. For instance, if you're preparing for an important presentation, don't waste time worrying about whether the audience will like you. Instead, channel that energy into practicing your delivery and refining your content, two things fully within your control. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, reinforced this idea when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Overthinking happens when we try to control the uncontrollable, but true confidence comes from mastering your own actions and mindset. The next time you find yourself trapped in a loop of overthinking, pause and ask, "Is this something I can control?" If the answer is no, release it. If the answer is yes, take decisive action. Remember, clarity and confidence don't come from endless analysis. They come from purposeful action. By shifting your focus and breaking the cycle of overthinking, you'll free yourself to move forward with certainty and strength. Mistake number 4. Comparing yourself to others. Comparison is often called the thief of joy, but it's also a silent killer of confidence. In today's world, it's easier than ever to fall into this trap. Social media, for instance, presents a curated version of other people's lives, showing their successes, achievements, and highlights, while hiding their struggles and failures. You might catch yourself thinking, "Why am I not as successful as them? Why don't I look like that? Why am I so far behind?" This constant measuring of yourself against others creates feelings of inadequacy, envy, and self-doubt, eroding your confidence. The Stoics warned against this behavior. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote, "Do not waste the remaining time of your life arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Instead of obsessing over how you compare to others, the Stoics believed you should focus on your own actions, values, and progress. Every person's journey is unique, shaped by their circumstances, choices, and challenges. Comparing your life to someone else's is both unfair and unproductive, because you're measuring yourself against a standard that doesn't apply to you. A key Stoic principle to counteract this tendency is autarkia, or self-sufficiency. It teaches you to derive fulfillment and confidence from within, rather than external markers of success. Seneca emphasized this when he said, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." In other words, we spend too much time wishing for things we see in others, instead of appreciating and developing what we already have. To break free from the comparison trap, practice gratitude and self-reflection. Take stock of your own progress, how far you've come, and the lessons you've learned along the way. Set goals that align with your values, not society's expectations. When you focus on being better than you were yesterday, rather than better than someone else today, you build authentic confidence rooted in self-growth. The next time you catch yourself comparing your life to someone else's, pause and remember, their success doesn't diminish yours. Turn your attention inward and ask, am I moving closer to the person I want to be? True confidence comes from walking your own path, not trying to follow someone else's. The Stoics understood this, and by adopting their wisdom, you can liberate yourself from comparison and reclaim your inner strength. Mistake number 5, allowing emotions to control you. Letting your emotions take control can be one of the most destructive forces to your confidence. When anger, fear, jealousy, or frustration dictate your actions, you often make impulsive decisions that you later regret. These emotional reactions not only harm your relationships and opportunities, but also undermine your self-trust, the foundation of true confidence. After all, how can you feel secure in yourself if your emotions constantly dictate your behavior? The Stoics viewed emotional mastery as essential to living a good and confident life. They didn't believe in suppressing emotions, but in understanding and managing them. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This means that much of our emotional turmoil arises not from events themselves, but from our exaggerated perceptions of them. For example, being criticized might make you feel humiliated, but if you step back and analyze the situation, you might see it as an opportunity to learn and improve. Stoicism teaches that emotions are the result of your judgments about external events. Epictetus explained this by saying, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You can't always control what happens around you, but you can control how you interpret and respond to it. This principle is key to emotional resilience and confidence. To prevent emotions from controlling you, start by practicing mindfulness. When you feel an intense emotion rising, pause and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is this reaction helping me, or is it harming me? By creating a moment of reflection, you can choose a more thoughtful response rather than reacting impulsively. The Stoics also recommended reframing situations to reduce their emotional impact. For instance, if someone insults you, instead of taking it personally, consider it a reflection of their character, not yours. As Marcus Aurelius put it, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it, and it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now." When you learn to manage your emotions, you build a sense of control and clarity that boosts your confidence. You trust yourself to remain composed and rational, even in challenging situations. Over time, this emotional strength becomes a cornerstone of your inner confidence. So, don't let your emotions rule you. Use Stoic wisdom to guide them and watch your confidence grow. Mistake number 6, avoiding discomfort. One of the most subtle yet damaging mistakes people make is avoiding discomfort. It's human nature to seek comfort and avoid pain, but this instinct can sabotage your confidence. When you shy away from challenges, tough conversations, or new opportunities because they feel uncomfortable, you rob yourself of growth. Over time, this avoidance creates a sense of inadequacy. How can you trust yourself to handle life's difficulties if you're always running from them? The Stoics believed that discomfort is not something to fear, but a necessary part of building strength and resilience. Seneca once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Just as physical exercise strengthens muscles through resistance, mental and emotional challenges strengthen your confidence by forcing you to adapt, grow, and persevere." One practice the Stoics used to embrace discomfort was voluntary discomfort. This involved intentionally putting themselves in uncomfortable situations to build resilience and prepare for life's inevitable hardships. For example, they might sleep on the floor, wear simple clothing, or eat plain food to remind themselves that they could endure hardship and still thrive. This practice taught them to view discomfort not as something to avoid, but as an opportunity to grow stronger. Think about it. The moments that make you proud and confident are rarely the easy ones. They're the times when you pushed through discomfort, overcame fear, and achieved something meaningful. Avoiding discomfort might feel safe in the short term, but it comes at the cost of long-term confidence and fulfillment. To overcome this mistake, start by reframing your mindset about discomfort. Instead of seeing it as a threat, see it as a sign that you're growing. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." The challenges you face are not barriers. They're stepping stones to greater strength and self-belief. Take small steps to build your tolerance for discomfort. Say yes to opportunities that scare you a little. Have the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Push yourself to try new things, even if you feel uncertain. With each step outside your comfort zone, you'll prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought, and that's where true confidence is born. So, stop avoiding discomfort and start embracing it. As you lean into challenges, you'll find that discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Mistake number 7. Ignoring your values and principles. One of the most detrimental mistakes to your confidence is ignoring your core values and principles. When you live in alignment with your values, you feel a sense of integrity and purpose that fortifies your confidence. But when you stray from what you believe is right, or compromise your principles for external gain, whether for approval, convenience, or success, you experience inner conflict and self-doubt. This disconnect from your values erodes your confidence because deep down, you know you're not being true to yourself. The Stoics understood that living a virtuous life in accordance with one's values is the key to authentic confidence. Epictetus famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom, in this context, comes from living with discipline, honor, and self-respect. When you make decisions based on what truly matters to you, you strengthen your self-trust and inner peace. This consistency between your actions and beliefs builds a sense of security that others cannot shake. When you disregard your values, you risk living a life that feels hollow and unfulfilling. For example, if you prioritize short-term pleasure or external success at the expense of honesty or kindness, you may achieve external recognition, but inside, you'll feel unworthy or conflicted. This inconsistency creates a gap between who you are and who you pretend to be, diminishing your confidence with each misalignment. The Stoics believed that a virtuous life, guided by wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, was the only true source of happiness and self-assurance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This simplicity is profound. Confidence doesn't come from chasing external approval or success, but from being unwavering in your commitment to live a good life according to your principles. To avoid this mistake, take time to reflect on your core values. What matters most to you? What kind of person do you want to be? Once you've clarified your values, strive to make decisions that align with them, no matter the external pressures or temptations. When you begin living according to your principles, your confidence will grow naturally. You'll feel more at peace with yourself, knowing that you're staying true to what you believe. So, the next time you face a difficult choice, ask yourself, Does this align with my values? Your integrity will not only guide you to the right decision, it will strengthen your sense of self and boost your confidence in every aspect of life. Mistake number 8. Focusing too much on perfection. Striving for perfection may seem like a positive pursuit, but it can be a silent destroyer of confidence. Perfectionism often sets impossibly high standards that are difficult, if not impossible, to meet. When you demand perfection from yourself in every aspect of life, whether in your work, appearance, or relationships, you set yourself up for failure and disappointment. This constant pressure to be flawless can make you feel inadequate, no matter how much you accomplish. The Stoics had a different view of success. Rather than pursuing perfection, they focused on the idea of progress, making continuous improvements without being attached to flawless outcomes. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The emphasis here is not on being perfect, but on striving to be good, to make progress, and to act with integrity in the moment. The Stoics recognized that life is full of uncertainties, and chasing perfection can often blind us to the value of small, incremental improvements. Perfectionism often stems from a fear of failure or a need for approval. We want to present an idealized version of ourselves to the world, believing that only by being perfect can we earn respect or admiration. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. Everyone has flaws, makes mistakes, and faces setbacks. Embracing your imperfections, instead of striving for an unattainable ideal, is a key to building real confidence. The Stoics encouraged acceptance of our own limitations and flaws, acknowledging them without shame. Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." The message here is that you don't need to be perfect to succeed or to be confident. By taking action, learning from failure, and continually improving, you build a stronger, more resilient sense of self. To overcome perfectionism, shift your focus from achieving flawless results to making steady progress. Instead of setting yourself up for failure by demanding perfection, set realistic and meaningful goals that push you to grow, but without the pressure of being perfect. Celebrate the small wins, the lessons learned from mistakes, and the growth you experience along the way. Remember, true confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from courage, action, and progress. By letting go of the need to be perfect, you open yourself to the freedom of being authentic, learning from mistakes, and growing into the best version of yourself, step by step. Mistake number 9, neglecting self-care. Neglecting self-care is one of the most overlooked yet damaging mistakes that can destroy your confidence. In the pursuit of success, work, or other external goals, it's easy to forget the importance of taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. When you don't prioritize self-care, you become depleted, physically exhausted, mentally overwhelmed, and emotionally drained. This leaves you feeling less capable, less energetic, and ultimately less confident. Without taking time to recharge, you can't perform at your best or feel your best, and your self-worth becomes tied to an unsustainable pace. The Stoics understood the importance of maintaining balance in life and nurturing the body and mind. While Stoicism emphasizes resilience and discipline, it also recognizes the necessity of self-care in achieving clarity and emotional well-being. Seneca, for instance, wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself," reminding us that taking care of our health and well-being is essential to living a life of purpose and control. If you don't care for your physical and mental health, Your capacity to handle challenges and make sound decisions diminishes, and your confidence suffers as a result. Self-care doesn't just mean indulging in luxury or taking vacations, although those are important too. It also means regularly prioritizing your physical health through exercise, good nutrition, and sleep, mental health through mindfulness, reflection, and learning, and emotional health through meaningful relationships, rest, and emotional processing. These practices replenish your energy and help you stay resilient in the face of challenges. When you neglect self-care, you begin to feel disconnected from yourself. You're more likely to become irritable, anxious, or frustrated, which can cause your confidence to dwindle. Over time, you may even begin to feel as though you're not worthy of taking the time for yourself. This sense of inadequacy only feeds the cycle of neglect. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself enables you to show up as the best version of yourself, capable, focused, and confident. To avoid this mistake, make self-care a priority in your daily life. Start by setting aside time for rest, reflection, and activities that nourish your body and mind. Whether it's physical exercise, meditation, journaling, or simply taking time to relax and breathe, find practices that help you feel restored and balanced. When you take care of yourself, you build a foundation of inner strength that supports your confidence and well-being. Remember, your worth is not determined by how much you do or how fast you go. It's grounded in how well you care for yourself. Self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity for lasting confidence and success. By taking time for your physical, mental, and emotional well-being, you empower yourself to live a fuller, more confident life. Mistake number 10, fearing failure. Fear of failure is one of the most paralyzing obstacles to confidence. When you allow the fear of making mistakes or failing to hold you back, you limit your potential and prevent yourself from growing. The pursuit of success is inherently linked to risk, and with risk comes the possibility of failure. However, viewing failure as something to be avoided at all costs creates an unhealthy relationship with risk. Instead of seeing failure as a learning opportunity or a stepping stone to success, you view it as a permanent setback that diminishes your worth. This mindset severely undermines your confidence. The Stoics had a radically different perspective on failure. They believed that failure was not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as part of life's natural cycle. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This reflects the Stoic belief that obstacles, including failure, should not be seen as barriers, but as opportunities for growth. In other words, failure is an essential part of the process, and if approached with the right mindset, can contribute to your strength and wisdom. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of amor fati, or the love of fate. This concept encourages us to accept and even welcome everything that happens, including failure, as necessary and valuable. By adopting this mindset, you stop resisting failure and begin to see it as an essential part of your journey toward growth. Rather than shrinking from failure, you embrace it as a teacher, an inevitable event that provides you with the lessons you need to evolve. If you fear failure, you're likely to avoid taking risks or trying new things, even if they offer great potential for growth. You may procrastinate, make excuses, or settle for less than you're capable of, all because you're afraid of falling short. To overcome the fear of failure, start by reframing it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? And How will this experience make me stronger? When you remove the emotional weight of failure and see it as a natural part of the learning process, you'll feel more confident in taking risks and trying new things. In the end, it's not the failure that should frighten you, it's the regret of never having tried. The Stoics understood this well. As Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. To build real confidence, you must be willing to fail, learn, and keep moving forward. Embrace failure as part of your journey, and it will no longer hold you back. Instead, it will propel you toward greater success and a stronger, more resilient sense of self." Mistake number 11, comparing yourself to others. One of the most confidence-draining mistakes you can make is constantly comparing yourself to others. In the age of social media and constant connectivity, it's easy to look around and feel like everyone else is doing better, achieving more, or living a more fulfilling life. Whether it's career achievements, physical appearance, or personal milestones, comparisons lead you to measure your own worth against someone else's highlight reel. This constant comparison creates feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt as you begin to believe that you're somehow falling short. The Stoics, however, taught that comparing yourself to others is a futile and damaging exercise. They emphasize the importance of focusing on your own growth and living according to your own values, not according to someone else's standards. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflected on this idea. Don't waste time on what you can't control. Concentrate on your own work and improving yourself. The Stoic approach to comparison isn't about competing with others, but about striving to be the best version of yourself. When you compare yourself to others, you're often focusing on the external, things you can't control, rather than on your own inner development. The truth is, everyone's journey is unique, and success looks different for each person. You don't have access to the full story of someone else's life, struggles, or context, so any comparison you make is inherently flawed. By constantly measuring yourself against others, you fail to appreciate your own strengths and progress, which slowly chips away at your self-esteem and confidence. The Stoics encourage us to practice autarkia, or self-sufficiency, which means finding contentment within yourself, regardless of how others are doing. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, famously said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." By focusing on what you have and what you can control, rather than on what others possess or achieve, you take the power back into your own hands. To break the habit of comparison, shift your focus to self-reflection and growth. Instead of asking, "How do I measure up to others?" ask, "How can I improve from where I am today?" Celebrate your unique path and acknowledge your progress, no matter how small it might seem. When you stop comparing and start focusing on your own development, your confidence will grow, because you're no longer measuring your worth by external standards, but by your own commitment to growth and self-improvement. By applying the Stoic principle of focusing inward rather than outward, you free yourself from the self-imposed pressure of comparison. Confidence comes from self-acceptance, not from competing with others. So, next time you feel the urge to compare, remind yourself that your value isn't determined by how you stack up against anyone else. It's determined by how true you are to yourself and how committed you are to your own path.